Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to pop on here really quick and do a little video for you guys on how to survive terrible twos. I thought about doing this video and just doing a little series along this video. I hope you guys have been enjoying our last series, which talks about self-care, talks about mommy burnout, talking about mom guilt and things like that. If you guys haven't seen any of those videos, I will leave them in the cards up above linked. I wanted to do this because my oldest, if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Kendall. I have an almost 3-year-old and an almost 8-year-old. Christy has 3 children. She has a 7-year-old, a just turned 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So with that being said, this Terrible 2 series is really just something that I wanted to do for you mamas out there that have littles like me. That's what I said several times I love about our channel, because we can talk about things for older kids and we can talk about things for younger kids. And this video pertains to women who are going through terrible twos currently. Like I said, my oldest is almost 3. He'll be 3 in August. So I thought this was a perfect time to kind of revisit those terrible 2 moments. Even though he's about to be 3, it doesn't mean that he's like out of terrible twos or out of things like that, tantrums and stuff like that, but it's just something now that I've had a year of experience with it, I wanted to share with you guys so that terrible twos don't have to be so terrible, because for me it really wasn't. I know every child is different and every mom comes and encounters different things, so I want to share with you guys 6 tips to help survive terrible twos. The first tip is schedule. Put your child on a schedule so that they know what's coming, and that repetitive, and I think that's good for every child, that repetitive nature is awesome for them because they have no sense of time. They have no sense of control of their day. If you put them on a schedule, they know what's coming next. They're not going to be shocked and surprised when they have to go take a nap, because they know after lunch is nap time. I think that really helps. I'm very strict on my schedule, especially when Micah was younger. As he gets older and throw another child into the mix, I'm a little bit more lax with that, but setting that strong foundation for him to where he knows what was next was very helpful when he encountered the terrible twos and wanting to be in charge of himself a little more. He knew what was coming next. He knew what to expect. So keeping a schedule is great and number 1 for surviving terrible twos. Number 2 is just understanding and validation. For me, it was very hard, but it's something that I had to keep learning and keeping at it, was putting myself in Micah's shoes. He's only been here for 24 months. Your child has only been here for, a certain amount of time on this earth. They don't know everything. And imagine being 2 years old and not being in control of anything that you do. So I think understanding is like very important to survive terrible twos, because you have to put yourself in their shoes to understand why they are acting the way they are. And validate their feelings. The best and most profound advice, even though it's so small, that I think that I would take from hearing another woman say, and also just give to everyone else, is treat your child like they're human beings. Not like you're in charge of them. Treat them as an equal to you. And I'm not saying they're, hold as much of a standard as you, but they're just a part as your family as you are. Treat them as if they're human beings. You're not going to try to disrespect or boss around someone who is equivalent to you, someone that you respect. Respect your child in that same way. And just validating their feelings. 2-year-olds have a lot of feelings. They do, and I'm sure you guys can talk about that in the comments with me. They have so many feelings about so many things, and they don't feel validated a lot of times. So a lot of times they hear the word no more than anything else. And it's just very important to be understanding, be sensitive to that, and validating their feelings. That's going to help through those really tough times where they're just emotional and melting down. Just let them know that you hear them and you understand them. Repeat back to them how they're feeling. Say out loud what they're feeling. Like my son, for example, Micah, I know you're feeling frustrated right now because of XYZ. That really helps cope with how their day is going, how they're feeling, because they know that what they're saying, what they're crying about is important to you. Number 3 is knowing that they will test boundaries. They are coming to an age where they are learning who they are, what they want, and how they feel about certain things. They're learning that they can make choices, and they are going to test those boundaries. They're going to feel out what they can get away with and what they can't. So knowing and being aware of that will help you down, help keep your frustration down. If you know that, okay, Mike is gonna color on the walls, or like something that's just so annoying that a 2-year-old will do, realize that they're going to test your boundaries. And when they do that, you have to stand firm in whatever your feelings are about whatever it was that they did. But if you would just keep aware that they're going to test your boundaries, that's going to help you feel so much better about your disciplining, about what they actually did, and just kind of understanding them a little bit more. Number 4 is positive reinforcement, and it's actually the reason why I decided to film this video. It's because I had this chart and I felt like, oh my god, I have to share this for moms because it worked so well for me. Back in December is actually when I made this chart. So Micah was not quite 2.5 yet. He had went through a lot of changes. Micah turned 2 in August. I had our second son in September, and you know, holidays and everything like that. It was very, very crazy. And that's when I kind of started seeing a little bit of Micah's terrible twos kind of come out. And I do it like that because I don't want to say terrible, because it wasn't terrible, and I just feel like we shouldn't go into it feeling that it's going to be a terrible year. So I made this chart for him because he was just having a really rough time. He was disobedient. He was melting down. He was screaming. That's when the word no came out a lot in Micah. He was saying no to every single thing we were doing. We were putting him in timeout a lot, and nothing was really helping. So one day I just was like, I'm tired of putting him in timeout. I'm tired of sending him, you know, like sending him to his room for a little bit for yelling and throwing things and stuff like that. So I decided to go the opposite route. Instead of always disciplining your child, try positive reinforcement, and it really, really works for us. So here is the good behavior chart that I want to show you guys that I made for Micah. Micah helped me go to the store, pick out the stickers. It's such a simple chart, but I just want to talk about it for a minute. So for me, I was so frustrated. So I kind of made it really hard for him to get to, because as a 2-year-old, 10 stickers on his chart is a lot. But hear me out. I wanted Micah to understand that it was something you had to do, that was not just things that I expect you to do every day and you're not doing them, but things that are out of the ordinary that you really wouldn't expect a 2-year-old to do. So my husband came up with, if he meets in the middle and gets 5 stickers, then he's gonna get a little prize from like Five Below or something like that. And I thought that was a really neat idea because it gives your child incentive to keep going. And it also is because he's only 2. It's very hard to get all the way to 10 stickers and still be excited and motivated about it. If you have 10 stickers you have to get to a big prize, if you get 5 stickers, you're going to get something small. So when he gets that small item, he's remembering that if he gets 5 more stickers, he gets to go to Chuck E. Cheese, you know, or something like that. So like I said, he started this in January. It is now May, and Micah has gotten all these stickers. So for me, I do make it kind of hard for him. I don't take stickers off if he does something really bad or anything like that, because he's earned these stickers and they're his. I just think it changed our terrible 2 journey completely around. Versus disciplining him, it really worked when I was just positive reinforcing him. And like I said, I always enforce him positively when he's doing like picking up after himself. I always say, you know, Mike, I really appreciate that. Those are things that I always say. I tell him I love him every single day. I tell him I appreciate him every single day. But him visibly being able to see these stickers add up on this chart and that he's getting something out of it was so much more profound. Number 5 is keeping them busy. Toddlers and 2-year-olds especially have so much energy. Keeping them busy is something that keeps their mind off of just like being destructive, throwing tantrums, talking about things they don't like, and it wears their energy out. One of the ways that I like to keep Micah busy is if I have something I have to do around the house, like laundry or whatnot, and I can't get that done because you don't want to trust your 2-year-old leaving them at home alone, or not at home alone, but leaving them in the house, like, you know, as you walk around the house, is I'll have him pick up with me, do laundry with me. And at this age, kids like to help out. It's when they get older where they don't want to do anything, but at this age they want to be helpful. They want to feel validated by saying, you know, can you help me with this? I need your help. And that's my husband is really good at saying, Micah, I need your help for something, even though he doesn't really need his help. It makes Micah feel good that, you know, daddy thinks that he can't do it without me. He needs my help. And so just keeping them busy, like I said, I like to keep them busy with helping out around the house, obviously taking him to parks. He loves sensory bins. I will do a separate video on some fun sensory bins to do with your toddlers. Obviously play, imaginative play, taking them to the park, going outside on the deck, playing in his water table, just having the day jam-packed with stuff to keep them busy. Like I said, sensory bins are awesome when you're doing dishes or you're doing laundry or you're cooking dinner or whatnot, or lunches. Sensory bins is great for that independent play, but obviously getting on the floor with them and playing with them. He loves playing with his cars on the ground with me, and that's something that we can do together. And that's something that if we're doing things together or he's occupied, then there's no time to be upset. And that, like, that's awesome. If they're not upset, then that means tantrums are not being thrown. That means things are not being thrown, and they're not just having meltdowns. So keeping them busy is number 5. Number 6, and the last one, is being consistent with your discipline. That's one thing that I struggle with. Because as a new parent, as a first-time parent, Micah being my oldest child, this is all new territory for me when I was entering this terrible 2 stage. So I didn't know how I wanted to discipline him. I didn't know. I thought that I wanted to discipline him a certain way, and ways that you think that you want to because that's the way your parents did it. But then you find out that that's not the way I want to do things, or not every child is the same and not every child responds the same. Whatever your discipline action is, whatever you want to do to discipline your child, be consistent with it, because once they find that you are inconsistent, they are going to play off of that like nobody's business. 2-year-olds are smarter than you think, and they will also play parents off of each other. So be consistent with your husband or your spouse, whoever it is. You guys need to be consistent and be on the same page, because if you're not, then they're going to run to the other. They're going to try, like I talked about earlier, they will test your boundaries. So as long as you and your spouse are consistent, then they know that they, 1, can't break you guys, and 2, just can't break you individually. And if they try to do that again, then they already know what's coming next, whatever your discipline action is. So that's all I have for you guys. I just wanted to share a couple tips that I learned throughout this year of 2-nagers, 3-nagers coming up, that just really helped me. And I just wanted to shed some light on terrible 2s and just let you guys know that it doesn't have to be that terrible. I think people put a lot of negative flack on 2-year-olds, and it's kind of sad in a way, because they are just learning, and they're just little. They're just little and they haven't been here for very long. And a lot of times it's miscommunication. They get frustrated with us just as much as we get frustrated with them. And if we just keep that in mind and try to work together with them versus always being over them in the authoritative figure, if we work together with them, I think it can be a lot smoother than what people say. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys like this video. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you guys haven't seen our other videos, I will leave them in the cards up above. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.